Hello, 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 lovely people. How are you? Hello, hello, hello. Good evening. Thank you for joining us this evening for this broadcast. We apologize for our little delay in start. It was mainly my doing because I was on a previous broadcast and couldn't make the switch over fast enough. But we are here now, and Dr. Leon Barrett is here with us again, our second attempt at this. Welcome, Dr. Barrett.
Thank you, Miss McLily. How are you today?
I am wonderful, wonderful, tired and wonderful because I've been running around all day doing all kinds of things from one
Right.
social media to the next. So again, I apologize for the last time. We were not able to complete that broadcast, but the Lord knows best.
Right.
You get a second opportunity to come back here and tell us your story. This time, hopefully, we'll get the whole story. And so, can you just go ahead and introduce yourself to the community? We know you're from Green Valley, but
O-
just tell us a little bit about yourself. Who is Dr. Leon Barrett?
Okay. So, yes, I was born in Green Valley from a big family. There are nine of us as children. My mother is from Moko. That
Mhm.
section of Moko we call Center. My father is from Green Valley. I am the seventh child for my parents. And because of that, my mom always talks about the fact that she heard that the seventh child is gifted. No, I used to be gifted not up here, but
You used to be gifted.
right with my hands. I
I'm a
used
se-
to.
I'm a seventh child too.
It's interesting, right? And so on. So, you know, because she used to say that so often about seven child being gifted, a lot
Mhm.
of people got the impression that I was the favorite child, but that wasn't really the case. It's just that I was the handyman or handy boy then, and so on. So yeah, I'm from a big family, as I said. I my education, first of all, started at Nightingale Grove Infant Center, which was
Mhm.
in Moko. That building has now been broken down because,
Mhm.
wear and tear and so on and so forth. And
Right.
then from Nightingale Grove Infant Center, I went to Happy Grove All Age School. And as I mentioned the last time, the school was actually started by the church, the Presbyterian Church. Later, the
Mhm.
Presbyterian Church became the United Church of Jamaica and Grand Cayman.
Right.
And that church is in Happy Grove, and it is actually across from where the present day Happy Grove um, Primary School
Cool.
is.
Mhm.
Right, it's on the right hand side going down. If you leave Newmarket going down to Middle Quarters or Concord
Right.
or whichever one of those places you want to mention. And then
Yeah.
from Happy Grove, I went to St. Elizabeth Technical High School. I
Mhm.
mentioned that I was in the fourth batch to be admitted to St. Elizabeth Technical High School, and
Mhm.
that was in the 1960s. I'm dating myself.
Mhm.
And during that time, though, they used to offer just four programs at the technical high school. It used to be a 4-year program.
Right.
And we entered the technical school through what we call the overage scholarship.
Mhm.
Usually, there was what we call the underage scholarship that you took at about grade 6 level,
Uh huh.
and that you would be admitted to the traditional grammar schools.
Right.
And but I went to a technical high school 4-year program. I actually did agriculture while I was at Stets. That was my program, agriculture. But my mom encouraged me at the end of that period to go on to teachers college. So from Stets, I actually went straight to Michael Teachers College. And
Okay.
there I spent 2 years intramural and 1 year internship. So I actually started my teaching career in Westmoreland at the Petersfield Junior Secondary School then. It
Mhm.
was not yet upgraded to new secondary.
Mhm.
And then I taught there for about 3 years. There I met my present wife, in at Petersfield.
Right.
And from um, Petersfield Junior Sec, I actually went to the University of the West Indies. So I actually
Okay.
started teaching before going to university because, that's how this system was structured in Jamaica. So I
Okay.
spent 3 years at the University of the West Indies. When I graduated, I started teaching at STETS. I taught there for a year and then I migrated to Canada. So
Okay.
that's my
Okay.
Jamaican education and
Okay.
work experience.
So, what's the education after Jamaica?
Okay, so when I came here, I went to University of Toronto, the Ontario Institute for Studies in Education, to do
Mhm.
my master's,
Mhm.
and that was from 1978 to 1980.
Mhm.
And I did a number of jobs before I actually got back into teaching. I just
Mhm.
started back into teaching about 1990. Before that, I worked as a childcare worker. I worked as a welfare worker
Mhm.
for about 8 years. And
Mhm.
then eventually I got back into teaching. You see, how the system is, they had to evaluate my qualifications because they weren't obtained here in Canada and
Oh.
so on. And because of that, that took some time because I also had to get some release from Jamaica, to say I wasn't bonded and so on before they, they would accept me and so on. So as
Do
I
you
say,
think they still do that? That they still do that nonsense now?
yeah, they still do. They
Mm.
still do, it's part of the system. And so, we just, it is what it is. So we just go along with it. Uh,
Okay.
Such, right?
So what part of education did you specialize in?
Okay. To teach up here, you have to qualify in at least two divisions.
Mhm.
Interestingly, even though I had never taught in an elementary school, they assigned me primary junior, which would be from, say, kindergarten to grade 6. But the thing about the system, you can upgrade, you can do what we call additional qualification courses.
Mhm.
So I did additional qualification courses in um, general science and history.
Mhm.
So I was qualified to teach up to grade 10,
Mhm.
which is the intermediate secondary.
Mhm.
To teach grade 11 and 12. The system here goes up to grade 12. To teach
Okay.
11 and 12, which would be senior secondary, I would have to have qualification in that. So I'm technically, well, I'm retired now. So technically, I was qualified in primary, junior, intermediate, elementary, and intermediate senior.
Okay.
But in addition to my usual job in the public school system here in Ontario, Peel School District in particular, I
Mhm.
also at one point used to teach additional qualification courses to teachers. Right?
Okay.
So I used to teach special education and English as a second language.
Oh.
And after I obtained my doctorate, I also taught online. I taught two master's level courses, Foundations of Education and Philosophy of Education. And, and for a semester thereabout, I taught a doctoral courses, Globalization and Education,
Mhm.
and so on. And then I worked with the Peel District School Board for about 25 years. And then it
Mhm.
was time to retire.
Oh, okay.
So
So you
technically,
also you retired now.
right.
What at what stage along the journey did you author a book?
Okay, when I was teaching the foundations of education course, I
Mhm.
actually the lectures, because there was no assigned text, I
Mhm.
actually put the lectures in the form of a book called Foundations of Education.
Oh,
Okay, so
interesting.
right, that was one,
Mhm.
and then um, I did while I was doing my doctoral program.
Uh-huh.
I actually wanted to specialize in special education, so I actually looked at the special education program or system in Jamaica.
Mhm.
Um, and I did a CD, a book CD, well, a book on CD in that, but
Oh, that's
I
nice.
distributed a few copies in Jamaica, but to market those things, it's not easy, and so on. So, you know, it
So
did not. Go ahead.
that's interesting. Because no, I have to sit up straight because you know what? We were planning to have a reading center there in Newmarket. So your kind of expertise in that area would be really, really a big help.
Okay, I'll look. I'll come back to something I did recently. But
Mhm.
there's another book though that we actually did. I got a group together. We call ourselves the Educators Forum,
Mhm.
and we were four educators actively in the school system here. So, because of the whole situation with quote unquote black students not doing as well in the system, we decided
Mhm.
that we would put together a number of presentations for parents and the children so that they could navigate the education system,
Mhm.
right? So we did put a book together and self-published once again. So marketing was a big issue and so on. So we cover things like the structure of the school system, what students need to do in order to be successful. So the book is actually called Succeeding in the Educational Maze,
Mhm.
because we treat the education system as a maze. You enter at kindergarten, but if you are not careful, you get lost in the maze. Some students drop out. Not everybody will graduate at the post-secondary or university or tertiary level.
Okay.
So, that's why we term it the educational maze,
Yeah.
because you have to be careful how you enter. So we did that book, and we continue to do presentations. In addition, I was fortunate to link up with a group of black pilots,
Mhm.
and their organization is called Urban Pilot Network. The president is actually a Jamaican pilot, but he flies for Air Canada. He's
Mhm.
actually a captain right now. He's a captain in it. And so what we do joint presentations. I would do education, and he would do aviation, trying to
Mhm.
interest the young people
Mhm.
into aviation. Then came COVID, and so we were, well, for the time being, we are not able to continue with this collaboration plus these presentations.
Okay. Go on.
But okay, go ahead.
All right. So joining us in the chat is Shelly Williams. She said good night to everyone. Hi, Shelly. Lolo is here. She says good evening, and she said he is a very busy man. Yes, he is. Busy retired man. Okay. And Paulette Black is also here. She says good night to everyone. Thank you guys for joining us in the chat. You could keep putting your comments there, and if you have any question for Dr. Barrett, you could also put it there in the chat. Okay. Thank you so much for being here. So, Dr. Barrett, it seems as if you have been really focused all your life on building on your educational foundation. Is that correct?
That's correct. And I want to talk about briefly a project that I attempted in Jamaica fairly recently.
Mhm.
Now, my brother, my oldest brother, Mr. Dudley A. Barrett, I usually say Dudley A. Barrett because he has a son, Dudley Barrett, but he's Dudley Peter. So I want to
Mhm.
distinguish between
Yeah.
father and son. So my brother actually started B&B University College Limited in Kingston,
Mhm.
and that he started in 1984. It's still going now. So we always talk about establishing a campus in St. Elizabeth because we are from St. Elizabeth. So we felt that that was one area that we could also make a contribution post-secondary education because
Mhm.
he's into training.
Mhm.
So we discussed establishing a campus in St. Elizabeth, particularly in Northwest St. Elizabeth, the
Mhm.
constituency of Northwest St. Elizabeth, because we realized that that is probably the only constituency in St. Elizabeth without a tertiary institution, as far as we know. Anyhow, we weren't able to do that because of a number of issues. So actually, in 2019, I got a group together and we registered St. Elizabeth Community College. So the intention was really to establish a community college in Northwest St. Elizabeth. And
Mhm.
we had to do a lot of groundwork and that sort of thing. I personally contacted a lot of persons, including the MP for the constituency, but unfortunately, he wasn't quite supportive of the idea. I don't
Okay.
know if it was personal or what else, because as I say, I knew him for some time, so I suspect he probably suspect that my politics was not his politics. So you know,
Okay.
they,
So they you didn't get the support that you needed.
I didn't get the support.
Okay.
Then COVID came, and because of mounting expenses, I said, you know what, I don't want anybody to get deeper and deeper into that. So we actually deregistered. But
Oh, wow.
right.
That's a shame. So where were you trying to have this organization?
Well, the thing is this: we looked at um, Newmarket area. I actually visited there's a community center when along the going from Newmarket towards Beersheba. There's a community center there, but it doesn't seem as if it was very functional because it didn't seem as if it, the upkeep was great on it. So that wasn't really appropriate. Then I looked at the old police station. Now, Mrs. Martin was renovating that building to move the school over there. And so she had extra space. So we were really exploring possibility of renting the extra space from her. But renovation was taking a long time also. And put it this way, apart from personal funds, we did not have the funding to engage in large scale renovation and do the necessary work
But
that
her
is.
school is now open.
It's open, yes,
It's
but as
open
I
and,
say,
and functioning.
right, it's functioning now, but at the time, look, we're talking pre-pandemic, um, which was 2019 or thereabout, and so
Mhm.
on. And as I say, you say we were investing our own money into this thing. We didn't have a reservoir of money, so we had to look about the rent and all sort of things, which means that we were starting from scratch,
Okay.
and that was, a big restraint, a constraint on what we were trying to do.
All right. Okay, I get that. So, you, as you are aware, the Newmarket St. Elizabeth community is is um is like a project that we started to improve the community, and it started before COVID, but it got even bigger during the COVID period when people were home and not able
Okay.
to go, So yeah, so it's just very sad that you guys canceled your project, because in one of the things that we explored when we were up and very busy doing interviews and stuff, a few months back, last year, was establishing some kind of tertiary institution in the Newmarket area, in the Northwest St. Elizabeth area, and we got the contact for someone at the University of the West Indies, so that we could approach them on this project. Now, because it's just a few of us trying to do so many things, including a whole big sports, state of the art sports complex, which we want to build, um, we still have not moved forward on that. So if someone like you and your group were, part of the discussion, then we probably would have gotten that project a little bit along, because one of the supporters that we have coming through here is the principal for Louisville High. And I see no reason, I'm talking, and this is my opinion and my opinion only, I see no reason why the Louisville High School building cannot be repurposed for a tertiary institution in the evening. So, brilliant people like you from the area who come up with these ideas and see the need, and that coincide with the same ideas that we had, that we needed some kind of tertiary institution, so that our people will not have to be running off, taking buses to go all sort of places to do evening classes and get their degree. That we could at least establish something in the area, an extension campus for the university or something. So maybe this is something you can take up on that level again, and or revisit your project that you had shelved. Um, the community center is where we're going to have the reading center, um, because the community center has a big area, like a big long area, and then at the side, the very side towards the old post office, that side is sectioned off, and that's where we're going to have this project for the reading center. So definitely a lot of things that we can talk about and try to collaborate on, because collaboration is going to be the key here. I was just talking today to a committee member, one of the subcommittees, the sports committee. I was just talking with him today about the fact that I'm going to register the organization here in the United States and have it as a legal not-for-profit, so that we can access global funding for it.
Right.
Because I have been approached, even though I am not as active doing what I was doing recently, because I have had to shift my focus to my business,
Right.
or or hungry will kill me, literally.
Right.
Um, so so people been asking me what's going on. We like the project. We want to help you to further this project, so that we can make it a model project for other communities. So definitely a lot of potential there. And with someone like you know, combining your skill sets with us, we can push this very, very far, extremely
I'm
far.
willing, right? I'm willing to participate. The thing is this, with the group I was dealing with, we were not in the same location, so it was a bit difficult to coordinate, because we had one person in Kingston, one well, I'm over here in Canada, one
Mhm.
person in Santa Cruz, no, two persons in Santa Cruz, and only
Mhm.
one person in the New Market area.
Right.
So when we were supposed to have meetings, it was sort of difficult. It was not during the days of Zoom where you could say, okay,
Like no,
let's
everybody's
right, everybody
adjusted to that.
right
Yeah. So
is
I think
on
you should still visit it
right.
with your group and start again. I
I
certainly would
don't
love to see
okay.
that.
I I'm interested in continuing, but what I discovered is you really need somebody on the ground, somebody reliable on the ground.
Mhm.
Because you see, here what my problem was, if I was on the ground trying to make the contacts and so on, but my group I also had to educate them or um, deal with certain issues, see if they would buy into the idea. So
Yeah.
it was not only, trying to organize that, but constant dialogue, why this thing is
Is
you know
needed. You know
needed
what?
and so on.
You know what? Maybe if we make the first move, like approach the lady from the University of the West Indies who is in charge of this extension program. Maybe if
Okay,
we make the first approach to them, they can easily figure it out. It would be easier than starting to build a school from scratch.
right. This is why I say, we have
Yeah.
insurmountable difficulties because
And the MP, he's been supportive to us. And
good.
yeah, we had him on this program already for a virtual town hall meeting. Yeah. And when I call him, sometimes he picks up. So I would say he's supportive to us. And he told us that they were putting in some kind of Wi-Fi network up there at Louisville,
Okay,
so that they would have adequate feed for the schools and the police station and everything else around that area. So that should help. I don't know if it was installed yet. It's the new system they were bringing in. He said he only got three, and he's putting one in Newmarket, obviously one in Lacovia, and I don't know where else. Um, but that should bring in a good, strong feed to sustain a university program. So, yeah, definitely we can sit and talk about this some more, but it's an interesting project and I would not like to see you drop it totally. Let's rethink, because
okay,
if it's an extension campus, you don't need anything more than the instructors. That's it. And because if the university would extend themselves there, it would be fantastic. Louisville School is doing pretty well, pretty stable. They're turning out very, very good students,
okay,
students
good,
who they take in below par because
right.
they don't send them the ones that are A students. Most of them are struggling when they get them, and they turn them out just doing and passing as many exams and as kids in the regular traditional high school. So they're doing very, very well. The principal there is very approachable. He has been on this program also, and his staff have been here. The board president's been here. So, you know, we all trying to work together. So
Okay, that's good
yeah.
because I had tried to contact Louisville, both the principal and the person in charge of the CAP program.
Mhm.
The, you know, you know, are you familiar with the Career Advancement Program?
Mhm.
Right? Because they used to do the CAP program, but they were doing, I think, the mechanic program and so on and so forth. So,
Yeah, yeah.
you know, I was in dialogue with them at some point in time, but there was they were having some major problems with their CAP program and so on. Plus, they said they didn't have any space at the time to accommodate us. So I said, well, we
Well,
would have to look
space.
elsewhere.
If you're having day classes, there might be a problem. But if you're having a class after school is finished, regular school is finished, I don't see why there should be a problem because an extension project like that, like it's usually for working people. So
Right,
you want to have
right.
it in the evening. So I personally, I don't see why that should even be an issue. You have
Well, it
co-
was
college
then, but
colleges open until 9, 10 o'clock at night.
right,
So
right.
yeah, so we definitely revisit that if you are willing to lead, because I can't take up another project to totally
No,
try to run it.
no. The thing is, as I said, I would want a point person down there also, because there are certain things that you can't do remotely, and this is what
Right.
I found out when we were doing the community college project,
Mhm.
because you
Right.
see, we were starting from scratch, and they have certain criteria that we had to meet,
Mhm.
right? And it's basically a long process,
Okay.
and so you need somebody to be there to be on top of things and
Right.
so on. Because even in terms of, okay, we are talking, if we are not talking about extension program at this point in time, say we're thinking of, say, a private tertiary institution, they change up the way that you register these tertiary institutions.
Okay.
No, it used to be you register with um, ECJ, the um, Education Commission of Jamaica, right? They would register you, and they would accredit programs and so on. Now they
Mhm.
only do accreditation. To register, you have to do the Jamaica Tertiary Education Commission,
Mhm.
right? And they you have to jump through a whole lot of hoops,
Well, I can
right?
imagine. I can imagine.
Right? And so, I realized that it was very, very difficult to manage that process from here. So
Right.
if we can find somebody, right, who
Well.
can do some of that legwork, because no, I have the information, right? So I can share the information, I can coach as we go along, and try to resolve some of the issues that will come up. But as I
Okay.
say, physically, because sometimes you contact these departments and so on, and they put you on hold, especially if you have to phone, they put you on hold and they never come back to you.
Yeah. I know. I know.
That type of thing.
Right.
You see,
So,
so
yeah. So you have to decide if you want to pursue this dream of yours to have an organization like that in Jamaica, and we will use this network to assist you in whatever way we we can, and our connections. So Claudine Collins joined. She says, "Hi, Dr. Barrett. Greetings from
uh,
Claudine Scarlett from Newmarket,
hello,
and
Claudine.
your batchmate from Stet.
That's
Yeah,
yes.
and then there's Jacqueline Dew, Spence Dew. She says, good night, everyone. Kathleen Smith says, good night, everyone. Caroline Young says, good night, everyone.
That's my
Good to
classmate.
see you, Mr. Barrett, my schoolmate from Happy Grove Primary. Yeah,
Hmm.
wonderful to have you ladies joining us tonight. And do you have any questions or suggestions for what you have been hearing so far, ladies? Just put it in the chat so we can expound on it somewhat. But I think it's a novel thought to have some kind of tertiary institution in our constituency. Um,
Yes. And
okay.
as I say, if you have any, know of any person, I will make, as long as I have a name, I will make the contact and do the dialogue, and you know, prep the person, in terms of the things that need to be done on the local scene.
It is not
And
easy to get
I know,
anybody in Jamaica to do anything. I've been looking for someone to cut the yard for my place out there from since December, and it cannot
right,
get done. So that is to tell you what we're dealing with.
right, right. But
So
I've shelved the project. I've shelved the project. Is just trying to figure out how I can, rework it. I might not be able to deal with the other person's the other people that I had been dealing with, because the project was not successful, and I'm not too sure they would want to take the risk again. Plus, one person is on the seniors, the
Yeah.
senior side, so
Okay.
that person
Okay.
would drop out in any case. You
Okay.
see,
Okay. So you might want to rework your group first of
rework,
all, see
right,
who is interested, and find a new approach. Like
right,
the approach
right,
that I told you about. They might be interested still, they might not be. So,
right,
look, try to do it that way. I don't see any reason why Louisville would reject having UWI Extension campus on their campus. So,
right.
yeah,
And if you have that contact at UWI, and pass it on to me, as I say, I will take the initiative to make the contact, to start the dialogue, to
yeah,
see what is required, and so on.
okay. All right, so we get the business stuff out of the way. Now for the fun stuff. Um, you you from Louisville. I mean, in Green Valley.
Right.
And what? Tell me something that about you that people from the area wouldn't know.
Oh, what about me that they wouldn't know? That's an interesting question. The thing is this: most of the people would know me just as a Barrett,
Mhm.
right? Because the people that I grew up with and so on, most of them have either died
Mhm.
or no longer around,
Right.
right? So it's a new generation of
Mhm.
people, even within Green Valley itself. Sometimes I reflect on the people who used to live at Green Valley. They are no longer there. I was saying
Okay.
to myself that um, the oldest person around from that group is Mr. Joe Campbell,
Mhm.
right? And I can count just about another three persons from the, call it, the foundation group in Green Valley. Everybody else is either gone or died, so they wouldn't probably know me. And they see me because every summer I used to visit Jamaica, and I'm
Okay.
in the New Market area,
Okay.
right? I go back to Green Valley, and that's
Mhm.
where my base used to be.
Okay. So is it not the same reason because we lost so many of our citizens and the younger people don't know them? Why you have this passion of sharing about people from the past?
Right, the background, right? Because
Right.
sometimes we look on things and take for granted, not realizing who were the builders of these communities before, and so on. So to as it were, make a connection
Mhm.
to things. I was pleased when I saw that thing about Nash. How many people really know the Nash family,
Right.
right? And just last night I was thinking about Cummings. How many people really know anything about Luther Cummings? He was at Hopeton there in
Uh-huh.
Westmoreland. The brother
Mhm.
Ralph was in Newmarket.
Mhm.
How
Mhm.
many know? How many people know about C.C. Brumfield, who
Mhm.
used to own the property where Cummings, Ralph Cummings, used to occupy? How many
Mhm.
people know about the Honeses,
Mhm.
right? So on. The Aarons, the Wakelands,
Right.
right? The Walkers,
Mhm.
Lance Walker. How many people know about Tommy Cowan? Tommy Cowan, not Tommy Cowan, the singer, Tommy Cowan's
This-
father,
Oh.
right?
Okay. Mhm.
Right. His father was Tommy Cowan too. How many
Mhm.
people know about? How many people know about? So you have the Walker there. You have Dennis. I don't know if Claudine. Hello, Claudine. If she's in touch with Enid. Enid Dennis was our batchmate at States also, and we are
Mhm.
from there. How many people know about the Dennis family,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And so on
So
and so forth. So
you have a passion for um kind of recapturing that historical perspective of the
right,
area and who the people were. I know I had a discussion with you. I actually proposed that we do a program, even a once per month or twice a month, where we can focus on specific people from the area and try to see if we could get discussions going that those who know them can speak about them so that we can
right,
have some kind of documented thing about these people because you know about them. The generation, two generations after you don't know about them. When you go, that knowledge goes. You
right,
know, when your generation pass out, that's it. You know what I mean? Because
right, right,
even the Nash family, we even though I went there and did that film and whatever, we don't have any historical data per se about them. I couldn't speak anything about them. I didn't know what profession they had. You know, we can only say the house tells a story. It looks like it's a plantation house. It looks like it had maid quarters outside and blah blah blah. But we don't have any information whatsoever
right.
to speak about these people, although they lived among us.
But the one of their descendants, Nash Business Haberdashery in Black River, they
Mhm.
are from there. They are from Newmarket.
Mhm.
I don't know if you know about
I
Nash
know.
in
I
Black
know.
River. Yes, they
Yeah, I
are
know.
part of that family from there. In that area we had, if you want to call it, the Nash Great House, and
Mhm.
then the Sullivan Great House in Green Valley,
Right. I
right?
heard about that one, so I next time I go back, I'll try to visit. Um,
That great house, you won't find it there because when Arnold Honis bought it, he had, basically knocked that one down and started a building that he didn't complete before he died. So you won't
oh,
find the the original Green Valley Great House
okay,
there
okay.
because the Sullivans used to virtually own all of Green Valley at the
Mhm,
turn of the 20th century.
mhm.
Yeah, they actually own Green Valley, and Green Valley used to be part of what was called the Happy Grove Plantation. Nobody would
Mm.
know that.
Wow. All
Yes,
right. So Claudine says that she says I'm in touch with Yvonne Walker, Lance Walker's daughter.
okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. So yeah, we need to have these discussions, and we can pass down some of what we know through spoken word. Now
Right,
the spoken word is recorded, so
right,
it's a great way to capture some of that information that people long after us. I hope that when we make these tapes, when this is on YouTube, that YouTube won't just disappear one day with all of
right,
this data. But I hope that it will always be here so that people long, long after you and I can see and watch these things and know a little bit about some people who were here before them.
right. Right.
So yeah. Okay. So is there anything you wish? Do you have pleasant memory of your childhood in Newmarket in the area?
Well, the thing is this: we learn to appreciate what we had back then. You know, just one of the things about Green Valley. My parents actually, as I mentioned last time, my father actually used to operate a shop, district shop in Green Valley, and it used to be the meeting place. So, the older men especially would come at the shop in the evenings or when rain was falling, and you hear a lot of stories, duppy stories. and right, and the children used to play around and that sort of thing. So it was like almost like a community place. You had a lot of discussion that used to go on, political discussion.
Mhm.
And while my father wasn't the village lawyer per se, but he was a major leader of the community. And, because of the level of education of most of the people, they looked up to him for ideas, for information, and direction to a large extent. Um, my when I look back at my upbringing, I would say that in comparison to the others, I was fortunate. Um, I was able to go on to a secondary school. Not many of the young people around that area had that opportunity
Okay.
that I had. But I have to give credit to my mother in particular. She used to say that when she was growing up, she had life very hard.
Uh-huh.
And as long as she was in control, she said that if she should have children, she's going to make sure that they wouldn't have to experience those hardships. But there wasn't a lot of material wealth at such, but so she pushed education. And fortunately for us, we turned out the way we did. Trivia, seven of the nine of us ended up being teachers.
Wow.
And right, and um, my brother Wesley became Chief Education Officer of Jamaica. So far, the longest serving Chief Education Officer from 1989 to 2004.
Wow. So you need to bring all six of the other ones up here to talk.
Uh, uh, well, unfortunately, one of my sisters died. Um,
Okay.
the other
Sorry.
sister,
Sorry
the
to
other
hear that.
sister is, she won't talk about that. I'll try the others. By the way, there's one still living in Jamaica, Wilma, who used to be vice principal of Middle Quarters All Age School. Wilma Murray.
Okay, I don't know her.
Right.
She's still there.
She's still
Wow.
in that area.
So your parents did pretty well with you guys, although they were from humble beginnings.
Poor.
To, how did they juggle to send? Is it one of those cases where the older one came back and helped the younger one, so that seven of you could become professionals?
um.
How do you think that they managed to forge that?
Okay. I usually say we are who we are because of the lots of help that we received along the way.
Right.
Now, through what we call private lessons, many of us did, private lessons for the scholarship program, for the Jamaica local exam. And
Mhm.
because at one point there were five of us studying, we used to get free lessons from the teachers. So the teachers were generous to us,
Right.
and they saw the potential, and they also encouraged us along. And I like to tell the story that I wasn't bright, but in comparison to my other classmates, I did very well. I was first and so on, not because I was bright, but because they weren't as bright as I was. So, I stood up. But one of the teachers said to me that, look, I'm going to do the over 8 scholarship. And if I didn't pass it, she was going to lick me. That was
Mhm.
her thing for, say she would flog me,
Mhm.
right? But I didn't take it in a negative sense because I know she had confidence in me, and she's saying that you have the potential and I expect you to perform. And if you don't perform, I'm going to give it to you. And I always remember that, and I appreciate that because they took interest in us.
Right.
So more than anything else is the help that we got along the way. And
Okay.
this is why we are inclined to try to give back to and encourage that sort of thing, because without that help, I would say we wouldn't be where we are today.
Right. Um, how do you think your parents got this idea of pushing for education?
As I say,
Were any of them ever been to any, like secondary school or
no,
anywhere up
no.
there?
In look, my we are talking about my father was born 1910.
Mhm.
So you see, during those times, you have elementary school for the mass of people. My
Right.
father finished. They didn't. They used to call it up to six book or
Mhm.
six class, right?
Right.
My father finished fifth book, and at 15 he was sent to learn shoemaking with Mr. Tass, a gentleman in Nightingale Grove. He was a shoemaker, so my father went to learn shoemaking. After the students left school, the mass of them either went into domestic work for the girls. The guys went
Sewing.
into right sewing. Well, not many in my era, in that era, actually got a chance to go into sewing and that sort of thing. So it was largely domestic work and higglering. Many of them went into higglering and so on. The guys, do days work or they migrated because there wasn't anything around the area for them to really do. You have Cobbler, which was a training center,
Mhm.
but Cobbler was, I think that was in Manchester, somewhere in
Manchester.
Manchester,
Yeah.
right? And not many people could afford to send the children away to Cobbler and so on. So a few did apprenticeship with whatever tradespeople were around, but not many. They went into farming, but it's subsistence farming. You really, with the amount of land that people used to own then, a square here and the rent land, it was just for domestic, whatever food and so on they produce was mainly for domestic consumption and that sort of thing. But my mother finished sixth book, but she was taken out of school, she said, at age 13 to look after her younger siblings. So she ended up doing domestic work. She used to work for Nash at one point in time,
Okay.
at the Nash Great House and so on. But as I said, she said, purpose in her heart that life was too hard and so on, and she's going to find another way to help us to break out of the cycle of poverty and so on. And so she saw education as a thing. She was well read, I must say. And,
Okay.
you know, I write about her and I said that even though she had formally only the equivalent of a grade 9 education
Mhm.
and so on, she could have a conversation with any university students.
Mm.
And I learned so much from her about geography. She could tell me, for example, about Canada, the five Great Lakes of Canada. She could tell me, just about any topic you take her up on. She could,
Wow.
do it
That's
because
right.
she was, so she was an inspiration and the drive, I would say, behind this.
Wow. Great story. And they were great parents. To have
Right.
had their raised kids to do so well from that humble little community down there in Newmarket. It's amazing, amazing what has come out of Newmarket, and we never knew until we started to do this program and have different people coming on to share their story. So it's always so important for us to get the stories.
I agree. And, one thing I find by sharing stories, you provide motivation, the
Yeah.
means of motivation for others, because, you know, many times we feel that we feel isolated, we feel that we were the only ones in such and such a situation,
Hmm.
when that is really not the case. But by hearing how others overcome some of these obstacles, it's a motivating factor.
Yeah.
And this is why I always encourage sharing of experiences and also establishing networks,
Yeah.
because
Um,
that's how sometimes actually you're able to access resources that you might not have.
right. Um, the sharing of your story, we cannot overemphasize that. That's one of the things that people would message me and tell me or call me and tell me they love the stories because they get motivation from them.
Hmm. Hmm.
Apart from the fact that you didn't know this person's business, and they now know because New Market people are really nosy. Um,
Okay.
really, really nosy. So now they know that person's story, but it also make them realize that, hey, my story was no different. I thought I was poor,
Right.
or I thought that person was rich, and I thought that person wasn't struggling. But no, I realized we were all struggling, and or their story is so similar to mine. You had a different perception before, but now you realize how the whole story was. And it's important for us to share because of that reason. Because we grew up in a community as small as it was. People people's greatest need was to guard their stories, to guard from
Right.
the neighbor or anybody knowing, even people in their own household knowing their
Right.
business. That was the thing that you grew up hearing. Don't let people know your business. Don't let people know you're going to foreign. Don't let people know when you're going to the embassy. Don't let people know. You grew up with that
Yes. Yes.
tight lip about everything. Even when they leave and go overseas, they're tight lip about their story because they still think you can harm them from all the way.
Right. Yes, that's true.
Right?
You
And
know.
because of that, we develop this culture of division among ourselves that hurt us as a community. Because time and time again, I speak about this, the fact that you probably were working at a school there in Canada and could provide recommendation and opportunities for a lot of people. Maybe someone looking at jobs, maybe someone, who knows,
Right.
connection, right? And or your expertise could help a student who was struggling with something or whatever. But because we have had a culture of dividing ourselves so much, we don't know the network we are part of.
Right.
We
Right.
don't know because we
I,
don't know each other. We don't know what each other does. We don't know um, who is who. Someone approached me, I think it was last week, about a young lady from, her dad is from the New Market area, and she's running for position as a judge here in the United States.
right.
And she's
Right.
my cousin too. It's through that I realized and I learned that she's my cousin. And we don't know these people. We're not connected. They talk to their immediate
Right. Right.
household or the sister, brother, whatever. But we don't we don't embrace each other as a community as we should. And we need to, right? Because I'm going to have to now try to find her, try to see if we could get her to come on so that the community can meet her and that they can help her in her election bid. Whoever
Right.
lives in that area can vote for her because she's connected to the New Market area. But to, so, we have to find a way to open up to each other better so we can connect at a different level. Not the level where you're going to talk each other's business and pull it, everything all over in a negative way, but in a positive way.
Right. And that's where I want to really congratulate you on establishing this forum. I don't, it's by accident that I, came up on this site because I'm not a Facebook person, but I came up on this site and, I've been reading, following you, reading the stories of people you have had on your program. And so that's why I started posting little bits here and there on your
Mhm.
program. And as I say, it's an inspiration and should be an inspiration to others. I
Right.
want to mention something to the young people
Mhm.
because many times they get discouraged. They are studying and they get discouraged. I want to say to them that how far you reach in life is not a matter of how bright you are,
Mhm.
it's how consistent you are in whatever you're doing, you know. And you have to, I say to them that sometimes we have to deprogram our brains, deprogram our mind, and start thinking positive thoughts. Um, feed yourself with positive thoughts. I can and I will.
Mhm.
Not only I can. Yes, you have the ability. Everybody has the ability, but
Mhm.
you also have the will, and you're going to do is what you do that is important. And
Mhm.
you know, try align yourself with people who are positive, who can help you to strive to be better. As I
Right.
say, it's not how bright you are that is going to make the difference. Is the effort and the time that you put into whatever you're doing. And I often tell the story that when I went to University of the West Indies, as a matter of fact, nobody expected me to go to university. Nobody in my family. I wasn't
Mhm.
bright. But once I reached there, what happened? We formed a group. There were four of us in our study group, and we stuck together for 4 years. And after lectures, we would take a rest, take a break, lime, and so on and so forth, and then go back and we would, as a group, study together. Go
Mhm.
over the lectures, go over the readings, and so on and so forth. And as I said, even though I wasn't bright, some of the scholars coming from whether Jamaica or Trinidad or whatever, I was able to march up at graduation, leaving them behind because they were into themselves. Oh, I'm bright, so I don't have to put out the effort.
Mhm.
I realized many of us realized we weren't bright, so we had to put in the
Put out
time
the
and the
effort. Yes.
work and the effort,
Yes.
and work on it.
Right.
So it's who that persevere to the end will
Right.
become the winner. The story about the tortoise and the
Yes.
hare,
Yes.
very instructive.
Mhm.
It's very instructive, and so on. So I would encourage them. Don't get disheartened. When things don't go your way. If at first you don't succeed, try again. Put in the
Yes.
time, put in the effort, align yourself with positive people, tune into programs like these because, it's a way of providing motivation.
Mhm.
And with that, I say they say the sky is the limit, not the stars. The sky is the limit. And
Right.
so shoot for the sky.
Hmm. Definitely is. Definitely is. It's such a pleasure to sit down and talk to you. And the Nardia joined on YouTube. She says good night. Curleen Young says good interview, very informative. Glad I tuned in from Loxahatchee, Florida. Loxahatchee, Florida. And Cheryl Williams says, Mr. Barrett, great story. Your mother and father do good job raising you all. Yeah. And Claudine says, great family, great stories, Leon. Yeah. So you see, good. Nice to hear the stories. It's good to hear the stories, and I see people dying so fast. And every time I see or hear about someone from the era that passed, I said, oh my God, you know, we didn't get their story, and who will tell your story when you're gone? No one,
Exactly.
no one. And so, yeah, we appreciate that you made the time to come back on here to talk some more with us. By no means it's the last. We hope we can develop, something around getting more stories and getting you more involved in the community, because I see you have the passion to help the community. And yeah, and I encourage those of you who are here listening, who are from the area, who are still shy about talking about your life story, that you come on and talk about it. You have a casual conversation. You don't have to get into ugly details if you don't want to,
Right.
but your story can inspire someone. And apart
Mhm.
from that is the documentation of, just your life that we have there for the future, right? So I want to thank you, Dr.
No, just
Barrett.
before the hello, Curlian. Hey, bad bargain.
You have to go
No,
catch Curly now.
let me share something with you. In class, well, the competition was larger between Curly and myself, right?
Uh,
And along the way, well, as an adult, I actually, even though the competition was between Curly and myself, along the way, in not very long ago, I understand we are actually related, but we were
oh,
competitors, right?
oh,
And so
all
on,
right. That's
you
good.
know,
That's good.
so
Same blood.
right.
Yeah. She says hi. Well,
Okay.
wonderful. Do you have anything to say in parting?
No, as I say, congratulations, and you're doing a fantastic job, and keep it
Thank
up. I
you.
hope we will be able to get others to really join in, because this is not a one-man show. The days of one-man show is over, and we need more people. The more we can share talents, resources, and inspiration, and that sort of thing, is the better we will be as a people. And we need to provide means to inspire and motivate the young, because they are bombarded with all sorts of things nowadays, that we need sometimes to help them to create some focus, because if we are not careful, we are going to lose this generation, and we can't afford to do that. So, young people, be positive. Yes, you can. You're smart. Yes, you can. And this is not an Obama whatever, right? Before Obama, we always said, yes, you can. It's not I can't.
Yeah.
Yes, I can. And, my brother always say, if you look the term Jamaican, the last how many letters? ICAN. I
Yeah.
can.
All
I'm
right.
Jamaican, right? I can. So, always bear that in mind. Yes, you're smart, and you can feed yourself with positive thoughts and so on. And, you know, the Lord will
Okay.
be with you and keep you. And so,
Thank
um,
you.
Miss McLily, you, as I say, you're doing a fantastic job, and may your work prosper.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, so I'm going to go back to eating my salad. Those of you who have not yet joined the raw vegan diet, seeing that challenge that we're having, it's still a few days for you to join, right? So sometimes I share the broadcast on here, but they're on my other pages. So you guys hop on board. We need to get our people healthy. People are dying from the area too much, too fast. We need to look at what they're eating, right? That's something we need to really dive into. What are people eating that's making them sick and letting them die so fast? Just a lot of people dying so quickly. The other
Right.
thing is We have a celebration coming up, I think the 19th, for our 105 years old Dr. Wallace. And the family has opened this up for all of us to join on Zoom. So those of you who can join on Zoom, the link is posted here in the group, in the on the page. And if you don't find it, please message me so I can send it to you directly. But we'd like to show up and show out for Dr. Wallace. She is a really remarkable person at 105 years old. She just
Okay.
celebrated her 106th birthday. And yet another educator from our area. Our area has produced so many
That's
educators,
right.
so many educators. So amazing. We are amazing people, and we need to, remember that we are amazing, and we
Mm-hmm.
we contribute to this nation's building. We have contributed,
Mm-hmm.
seriously contributed. The people of Newmarket have contributed, or
Yep.
Northwest St. Elizabeth have contributed significantly to the country of Jamaica, especially in the area of education. No
Mm-hmm.
one would want to admit that, but believe me, we have produced a lot of teachers. I've seen a lot of education officers coming through here, and a
Yes.
lot of very powerful professionals have risen out of that very tiny, tiny community. And we need to recognize that, and we need to let the whole country stop and notice
That's
that we
right.
have produced a lot of stalwarts from that community, right? So have a good night, Dr. Barrett. We will
Thank
speak
you.
again. Really appreciate you and your family giving you the time to come on here and join with us. Guys, remember to share this broadcast so other people can see it and also be inspired, right? So I want you to have a really, really good night as we take our leave from here. And I will be on Sunday on the Zoom for um, Dr. Wallace. So I hope to see you guys joining there to show your support too, because she's an amazing person from the community. So take your bow, Dr. Leon Barrett. We are proud of
Thank
you.
you.
You did
Thank you.
very, very well. You did us proud and continue to do us proud. And I'm sure you have enough life and vibrancy in you to give back to your community even at this age and stage because you're now retired. So you can find the time.
No, no, no. Well, the thing is this though. One last thing. I actually work with seniors now through the church, so I'm the coordinator for the Federation of Seniors Ministry. So we have four church groups with seniors in it. So we plan lots of activities. Every Tuesday I'm on Zoom for we have our social every Tuesday. And people look forward to coming to the Zoom meeting, the social every Tuesday and so on. And so it's not only the young people I try work with, I also work with seniors because
All
they
right.
are living libraries. Seniors
All
are
right.
living libraries, and if we can tap into those resources,
Yes.
we will
Yes.
be better off. So I
Wonderful.
encourage
So
people to tap into the seniors
the
that
resource.
you're right that
Yeah.
you have around you.
Okay.
So
So
thanks
Miss
for having
Claudine,
me. It was a pleasure.
you're
So
most welcome.
thank
Miss
you.
Claudine is asking that she wants to keep in touch with you. So can I share your contact with her?
Yes,
All right.
with pleasure. Yes, because as I say, I'm trying to connect with people from Newmarket. I mentioned Lennox Bennett. I don't know if you know Lennox Bennett. He's from Beersheba. Well, I know where Jean is. You have Claudine. You have Joy Jones. You have Patrick Jones. You have
Okay.
Enid Dennis. And I
Okay.
wouldn't mind touching base with them.
Okay. So variety. Thomas says what church and what is your link?
The church is the Okay, Mississauga Seventh-day Adventist Church.
Mm-hmm.
And the Zoom link for the seniors would be 991-8038-5352. And the passcode is CARE, capital letters, so capital
So you
C, capital A, and K. And we meet every Tuesday, 5:30 to 7 o'clock. And as
okay?
long
You
as
want
the
to
person is a
repeat? Just repeat the number again, so in case you missed.
991-8038-5352. And the passcode, uppercase CARE, CARE.
Wonderful, wonderful. And you meet what day and time?
Tuesdays from 5:30 to 7 o'clock in the evening.
All right.
5:30 to, and it's a variety social. People do what they feel comfortable doing. If it's praise and worship, that's okay. If it's to tell a joke, it's to tell a story, sing a song, and so on. And, you don't have to be a professional singer. I'm not a professional singer, and the older folks coax me into singing. Right? So we have fun. We have fun. So
All
join
right.
us. No membership is required. You don't have to be a member. Just join us as long as you're a
Just a
senior.
social gathering.
Right, right,
Nice, nice.
right.
All righty. Thank you.
Okay,
We
thank
have to
you
plan a
too.
we have to plan a date for you to come back in here and talk.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Take care.
Ladies, Miss Claudine, Nadia, Curleen, all of you, Viry Thomas, all of you, Shelly, we appreciate having you guys, Kathleen, Jacqueline, Lolo. See you guys again soon. And remember to join the party for Dr. Wallace on the 19th.
19th.
All right. Have a good night, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
All